Hey, my name is Kofi Thompson, and today we're going to be talking about 3 different types of investment accounts that you should be aware of so that you could be maximizing your wealth accumulation strategies. So oftentimes, for those of you guys who do invest, most people aren't usually considering the types of tax implications that also comes with investing. And this can have a pretty large impact on your overall wealth in the long term. So let's dive into it. So the first type of account is going to be a non-qualified brokerage account. This is just going to be a general investing account. So in these types of accounts, you can go through and you can buy any types of securities. You can buy funds, mutual funds, ETFs. You can also buy individual stocks. With this type of account, it's not going to have any types of special IRS tax benefits. So you're generally going to be putting in after-tax money into this account. And then when you eventually sell that security that you bought, you're generally going to pay, one of 2 different types of taxes. That's either short-term capital gains or long-term capital gains taxes. So short-term capital gains, you're usually going to be paying taxes based off your income rate. So if your income tax rate is 30%, you're going to be paying around 30% on that money that you've earned in that, security. And that's if you were going to sell that security within the year. So if you sell a security less than 365 days after you bought that security, you are going to be paying those short-term capital gains. The second, tax category essentially that you can fit into is going to be long-term capital gains. So if long-term capital gains, that's if you sell a stock or a security longer than a year, so 366 days or more, you're going to be paying long-term capital gains taxes. And that's going to be one of 3 different numbers. So you're either going to have 0% if you're in the lowest tax bracket, 15% if you're below the highest tax bracket, and then 20% if you're in the highest tax bracket. So it's very important to be aware of these various types of taxes that are associated when you're investing and selling, securities, because again, they're all going to have a very large impact on the overall wealth that you actually get to keep, at the end of the day. So the second type of account is going to be a traditional 401k, a traditional IRA, or traditional, 403b. These are all types of tax-deferred accounts. So how these accounts work is that they're also called qualified accounts. So they're qualified by the IRS. So you may contribute into your traditional 401k at work, and you're going to get a tax deduction on that money that you're putting in there. So let's say that you make $100,000, right? If you put $20,000 into your traditional 401k, you're going to get taxed on $80,000 today. And then as that money grows, as you're buying and selling different securities in that account, it's tax deferred. So you're not paying taxes, during that time at which the account is growing. But it has that limitation at the end because you cannot withdraw the money until 59.5. So then after 59.5, when you're able to withdraw that money, you're then going to be paying income taxes based off of, how much money that you're withdrawing and other sources of income that you have as well too. So let's say that you're in the 30% tax bracket in retirement. If you're withdrawing, let's say you have $1 million in that account, and definitely wouldn't recommend this, but you withdrew all the $1 million at one point, you're only going to see $700,000 of that money, at the end, because you still have to pay those income taxes when you withdraw that money. The third type of account is going to be a tax-free account. So there's many different types of, tax-free accounts. You have, Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks, HSAs, 529s. Some of these accounts are going to have some special uses, like you can only utilize the money you put in there for certain things in order to keep those tax benefits. But to explain how, the tax-free accounts work, let's take the Roth IRA, for example. So let's say that you make $100,000 and you max out a Roth IRA at $7,000 a year. So this year you are going to pay taxes on that money. You're actually putting in after-tax dollars. So after you pay your income taxes, that's the money you're putting into that Roth IRA. But then that money continues to grow tax-deferred. So again, just like the traditionals, when you're buying and selling different securities in that account, you're not going to be taxed on any of that, growth in that account until you actually eventually liquidate it. And then after 59.5 again, at that point you can take the money out but it's going to be completely tax-free. So you don't really have to worry about any other, tax implications down the road. So let's say, again, you have the example of $1 million, in your account, and you decide to liquidate it all, and this was in a Roth IRA. You're actually going to see all that $1 million because you're not paying taxes on it, ever again, since you pay tax in the beginning. So very important to understand the tax implications while you're investing. Taxes by far are going to have one of the biggest impacts on your overall wealth in the long term. So talk with your financial professional, always get some guidance to understand which types of accounts are going to be best for you. It depends a lot of different factors that can go into, like how much income you're making now versus how much income you'll make in retirement. If you're going to be making more now versus less later, or less now versus more later, all those different things play into what type of account is really going to be best for you. So talk with your financial professional or reach out if you guys have any questions. Again, my name is Thompson, founder of Zion Capital Management, and today we talked about different types of investment accounts.